Hey, afternoon guys. Quick recap. So I've got the engine sitting here on some straps. And right now I'm working on getting the Atlas transfer case on. I put this bracket on real quick. I was trying to figure out the speedometer, but so when I mic it, the shaft and the speedometer gear mic out to be exactly the same. I don't remember what it is size wise, but they're exactly the same to the thousands. And so the gear doesn't want to slide over the shaft, and I reached out to Atlas, or rather I reached out to the company I bought it from. They reached out to Atlas and they just said to go at it with some emery cloth, and I did that. And it's still, so like now it kind of starts to go on, but it just doesn't want to go on. So I'm going to do that a little bit more, but they're saying I must have an aftermarket shaft. I don't know. I mean, as far as I know, this transmission is factory transmission in that Suburban. But anyways, regardless, I'm gonna get everything thrown together, get the Atlas in here so I can figure out exactly where I want everything to live. Once I get the Atlas in here, I can kind of see how I'm gonna clock it and everything. And then from there, I'm gonna make my motor mount and trans mount, and then tear it all back apart. So put you on time lapse here and we'll get going. Hey guys, it's been about 24 hours. Where I ended the video, I just was not feeling good. Went down to the house and I was sick for like the last 24 hours. I'm still not feeling great, but some sort of stomach bug. But anyways, back at it. So I gotta take the center console out. Whoa! I gotta take the center console out and get because I got to get that shifter out because it sticks down, and right now I could just shift it back and it would get the arm out of the way, but right now it's keeping the Atlas from coming up. And then right about there-ish, there's another bracket that I want to remove anyways, so we're just going to do all of that right now. So I probably won't film that just because it's kind of hard to get in there, but we'll go ahead and I'll bust that apart and show you what I'm talking about once I get it busted apart. All right guys, so I got the shifter tore out. That's what I need to get out. And then there was that bracket right there. This carpet is pretty much garbage. It's frayed and coming apart in a lot of spots, and all the carpet's gonna be coming out of this in the near future anyways. But I got what I needed out. Now I can get her lifted back up and start working on getting everything in position the way I want it. So get her lifted up and get back to it. All right, guys. What's that? LEDs. What the shit? Are you kidding me? Reversible or reverse threaded drill bits, you mean? Well, shit. I wanted to check real quick because from my measurement, so this drive line was slightly too short before, and I thought we'd be okay now, but looks like it's gonna be, sorry, it was slightly too long before. Now it looks like we're gonna be slightly too short. All right, guys, I got my Redneck Ingenuity going on here. I've got straps all over the place. Straps, I don't know if you can make it out on the transmission holding it center. I'm gonna double check my measurements real quick. I just took an angle finder, went off of this point, off of here. It's about 0.35 off, but that's plenty good as far as I'm concerned. But she's pretty much where she's gonna live, so I'm going to get the motor mounts started. So I'll get her raised back up in the air, double check everything real quick, make sure nothing moved when I was raising it, and then just start welding up motor mounts. So let's get to it. All right, so I just measured from the motor mount to the frame, and both sides are like a 1/16 under 4-inch, so must have done something right. But I got them marked out already, as you can see here. I'm going to cut them at 4 inches, and then if they need to be trimmed up a little bit, I'll trim them up, but it's easier to take a little bit more off than it is to try to put some back. So get those cut real quick and then get them done. Yep, so it looks like so I'm going to take a little bit off of here real quick.
Did I tell you about the dirt bike that she wants to buy?
You mentioned it, yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, okay. He goes, well, do you think it'd be a good idea to get it for the grandson? Fuck, I don't think so, but that's you.
I'll sell you a 4-wheeler.
He's a little, he's one that I would assume that he would take off on it, and he'd be halfway to Stanfield by the time.
Stuff in the leg. Those definitely aren't as attractive as I'd like them to be, but there's too much stuff in the way and having too hard of a time getting in there and trying to move my hand stuff in the way. But anyways, that'll be good enough for now. Once I get the engine back out, I'll lay another bead down, but for now we should be good to drop everything down and everything should hold. Hey, it didn't fall. Actually, it didn't even seem like it moved an inch.
Right?
Okay, get her raised back up and probably get the outlets off and start working on a transmission mount. And then jerk it out of here, weld everything up a whole lot nicer, paint it, and we'll go from there. Morning, everybody. It's the next day, obviously. So I got this bolted up here. I still got to get my bolt here, but this is in the way to drill that. So plan on just backing that bolt out and knocking it back. But for now, it's good enough that I think I'm gonna get this mount done. I bought this transmission mount a while ago, along with the motor mounts, back when I was gonna LS swap my old Jeep, and I forgot that this is the way it was. So it comes with no bracketry, so I have to make the bracketry, which isn't a big deal, but definitely kind of stinks, because I was thinking that it was similar to the motor mounts, where all I was gonna have to do is cut them down the length, but it's not a big deal. So I'm gonna work on getting a bracket made for that right now. So we'll get some measurements and go from there. All right, I have this channel. It was 3 inches by 3 inches by 3 inches, 3/16 material. And so what I think I'm gonna do is go in here like this, and then the motor mount will come, well, sorry, we'll come back over here, but we'll cut this all down, but essentially this will, I'll figure out where this will fit here. So this will fit just like this up against the transmission mount, come down 3 inches, come out, and then this will butt up against the end of it, and then we'll just take a piece of stock, like this, and put, you know, cut it down obviously, but make it to where it fits. I might block the sides too, but I think I'll block the middle because it'll add extra support here. But and what I'll do here is I'll just notch this down to the 3 inches or whatever, to where we have the most contact pattern on this as possible. But I think that's how I'm going to handle that. I'm going to work on getting it all tacked together, and I'll show you when I get it close to being done, and see how I think it's going to work. Okay guys, so this is what I ended up throwing together. So now I just need to make some drop down tabs, come down here, just weld those in. You know, I have like a 1/16 of an inch of clearance on the back side. I'm going to trim this up a little bit. The only concern I have is where the stud comes through here. If it comes through in this bottom one, then I'm probably going to have to notch this plate out a bit. I'm hoping I don't have to do that, but if it comes through here, it should be okay. Might still be okay. It's just mostly like getting the bolts on and off, but we'll figure that all out. But right now, I'm just, like I say, I'm going to get some drop down tabs made to get this mounted up, and then I can get rid of this cross member that I made before. And then I'm going to leave all this like this for now, because I do want to continue this on and cover up the transfer case as well, and I figure I'll take the same shape and I'm going to make it one piece. So like this is going to come up, and again, I'm going to make it to where it bolts all the way up to here, but I want to cover the transfer case completely, so this will be a lot sturdier all said and done, because making this cut in it definitely made it a little bit weaker than what it was. But and then, you know, I got to notch this out and everything, but I got to make my exhaust, which I have plenty of room, so I'll be fine. But because the original exhaust, you know, it's only like that, like 1 3/4 or something. The new exhaust is probably going to be, single exhaust is probably going to be a 3-inch tube, so I think I should have plenty of space to get that through there. But I want to keep it tight, that way I have I'm not smashing it on rocks. But because I'm going to bring it all the way back here to a single muffler in the future, I want to dual it out from there. I gotta fix that, ignore that. Anyways, in the future I want to dual it out from a muffler here, but or I've also thought about bringing my exhaust outside the frame in the future and running it down here, but we'll see what happens. I'll probably stick with a single exhaust setup, but the exhaust we do right now is temporary because I have some other plans in the future, and I don't want to go through and, you know, spend money and make a high-end exhaust just for it to for no reason, basically. So I'm gonna stick with this exhaust, but I'm gonna replace all the way up to this point, and then the rest of this is 2 1/4, so that'll be fine for now. I know it's gonna choke it out a little bit, but it'll be fine for now. Hopefully it's really temporary. So anyways, I'm gonna get those brackets made and get those on there. All right guys, so this is what I got going on. I'm gonna get them welded in here, but that's how it's gonna be. And I've got everything figured out to where transfer case will still fit. I should be able to get this bolt in and out, and everything should be good. I'll probably run the bolt in the other way, because when the transfer case and the drive lines here, it might be a pain to get it in that way. The only thing, like I said, is if it goes on that stud there and not this stud, and I don't remember which one it goes on, but at the end of the day, like if I have to auger that out, I will. So, but I get this welded up, and we'll move on. And just like that, she's in there. This nuts welded. Still gotta drill the holes for these ones here in the front. We'll get that done. Like I said, I still got a lot of work to do, because once the transfer case is on, I'm gonna extend all this and have it come in and tie into the frame again. That way everything's covered, and eventually I'll probably make it to where another piece bolts on and comes all the way up here and covers the oil pan and the training pan and everything too, and have it bolt up to the frame somewhere. But for now, we've got her pretty well tied up. So now I'm gonna cut out this temporary cross member. Transmission didn't move at all, still centered. We still have a lot of work to do. The transfer case sits about right here, so this is the original hole for the original shifter, so the new shifter's there and have to come forward quite a ways, and kind of need to come this way too, but I don't want to do that. I'm hoping I can kind of bend the shifter and have them come up through here and then maybe bend them. because I would prefer not to have, you know, a shifter in the side of my leg. I think that'll work just fine, but I think we'll do all that towards the end. But there's a lot of things yet to do. I'm gonna run all new fuel lines, and because we're gonna get rid of these steel lines and go to a braided, it's a rubber hose that's stainless braided, and then another rubber layer, and then it's got a it's a nylon braided. And that's pretty much what I'm gonna do everything out of. But I'm pretty happy with where she's sitting. She's level. I have room for everything that I can tell. Like, I'm running the AC and I already mocked it up, and there's more room in here than there was on the freaking Suburban that it came out of. I might have to notch this, but that's not the end of the world. I do kind of want to come with a cross frame basically that comes underneath here, ties into the motor mounts. I don't know that it's necessary for strength purposes, but you know, with what you do with these things, I think it's a good idea to do that. And then it also could give me something to tie into for the front of that oil pan mount. But we have, I mean, the oil pan is here, so I mean, we have tons of clearance. It's going to clear the diff perfectly. The oil filter is going to clear. Steering is going to clear. I have 7 inches of droop and 7 inches of up travel, and so I figured out, like, we're not even going to come close to the pan. And even if we were, I would change that. And initially, my thoughts with all this was I was gonna try to set it lower so the truck intake didn't stick out of the hood. But after I was kind of playing with it, here, let me drop it down. But after I was kind of playing with it, I decided, you know what, I don't like that, because, you know, this is an off-road rig and I don't want all that stuff hanging down there. But you can kind of see, if you look straight across, the fill tube for the oil sticking up a little bit. And it might be okay because the hood doesn't come straight across, it domes up. But I think what I'm going to do for now, I'll just cut the holes. But I think I'm just going to make a cowl hood, or see if I can buy one, probably make one. But the engine, you know what I haven't done yet? I haven't checked to make sure that the bracketry for the I was thinking about changing stuff up, and I decided not to do that. So I wasn't going to use the original truck accessory drive. I was going to use an aftermarket setup, but just the truck intake gives you more torque for one. Actually, may not be as bad as I thought. It looks like it's just this guard that is touching, so it's like we'll be okay. It's like it's gonna be snug. But this right here is a Dakota steering box. And I think I'm gonna go back to a regular Jeep Cherokee steering box and do hydro assist. So, and the Dakota steering box is bigger and sticks out more. So, we'll see. But everything is perfectly centered. I found the center line of the Jeep and went with this very center of the stud bolt. And then my motor mounts, you know, are they're not even a 16th of an inch. They're just a 16th of an inch off. They're just a hair off, But anyways, I think we're gonna, now that we got all that done, we're gonna yank the motor back out, and I'll start working on all the other stuff. So, all right, stay tuned. Okay, I was just doing some checks. This manifold, probably, I don't know how well you can see, but it's got about 1/8 of an inch of clearance. Not a problem. I marked it. I'm gonna go ahead and notch the frame a little bit. honestly, I could just bash it with a hammer, but I'm just gonna notch it. It'll look better in the end. And then here, the bracketry fits, but the pulley is, like, I could get the bolts in, but the pulley's resting on here. So this is a Durango box. I think I mentioned that, but I've been thinking about going back to a Cherokee box and doing the Hydro Assist because they are a little bit smaller and closer to the frame. So I think that's probably what I'm going to do. Unfortunately, that means spending a little bit more than what I initially planned on, but life goes on. But this manifold over here clears no problem. There's just that seam in the firewall. I need to trim that out just a little bit. This one that comes down here, that's just barely in the way because it crosses down right there behind the block, and it sticks out. So I'll trim that down. And then steering is gonna clear. There's about 3/8 of an inch, half an inch there. AC pump is gonna clear. I just threw the intake on here. All this wiring is an issue, but I'm gonna clean all that up anyway and get rid of what we don't need, so that loom should become a lot smaller. And if I actually stuck it down below where it is, then it wouldn't be an issue at all. And yeah, that's about the sum of it from what I see as a problem. We're getting closer, so I think I'm at a point where I'm going to jerk this engine back out. Oh, I'm going to massage the firewall a little bit. We have, I wanted it as far back as I could get it, so we have about this much clearance between the firewall. I'm just going to smack that with a hammer or my something. Anyways, I'm just going to take and smack it a little bit and just make a nice little groove there. That way, if for any reason this moves around, we're not rubbing into the firewall, which it shouldn't really move around. My goal is to make it super solid. Like I said, I want to do a cross member underneath the oil pan that is removable. I want this thing to be solid though, so I don't want any issues down the road. So, and we're lightening her up enough, I think, that we can afford to add a little bit of extra weight, because some people don't believe me. I'm not sure why, but if you just Google what LS weighs, like a 5.3 in comparison to the 4.0s, the LS is roughly 100 pounds lighter, depending on what model it is and everything. So, and 4L60 is lighter as well than the AW4 from what I've Googled. So the engine is definitely lighter though, like you can feel the difference. But anyways, that's where we're at for now. I think I'm gonna get this engine jerked out of here and start working on some of that other stuff. So, but all right, be back shortly. Hey guys, good morning. It's the next day. I'm gonna spend my morning doing what I always try to do in the mornings, and that is clean up my mess. But thought I'd give you a quick update. Pretty much have the wires eliminated that need to get eliminated. Got to do a little bit more research to see if there's anything else I can eliminate. I just don't want anything that's unnecessary, basically. But the LS is going to have its own standalone wiring harness that's going to tie into the gauges as well as run the fuel pump and everything. So we don't need all that for the stock unit. It'll what we do need is we need you know, to be able to run our heater controls, headlights, etc., etc. So another issue that I think I mentioned yesterday is this right here is a steering box out of a Durango, and this spacer right here is for that as well. But the problem is that the pulley from the LS, here it is, the power steering pump pulley, it actually kisses. You can get the bolts in and get them started, but it is resting right here against this port. So I think what I'm going to do is something I've been thinking about doing anyways, or not thinking of, planning on doing, is adding hydro assist. And I think what I'm going to do is go back to a regular Cherokee steering box and add hydro assist, and that should move everything over enough, hopefully, that it certainly move everything over, but hopefully it's enough to eliminate our issue, because it's not just a matter of the pulley not clearing. Once I were to add the hose for the power steering, that would be a contact issue as well. So anyways, it's kind of where I'm at. Get my mess cleaned up. I'm also going to do a little bit of dressing on the motor before I put it back in, but and before I get to that, all of this, I've got some rust repair to do right here. I want to figure out my battery boxes, amongst a couple other things, and then all of this is going to get painted, and I'm going to get rid of these original hood latches, because I'm going to do some different hood pins, different latches, and then yeah, and I think that about ties everything up. But I've basically got everything else done to the point that it's going to be, this hole right here was because the battery box set right in there a little bit, but with getting rid of these hood pins, I can actually move this back, and it'll make it to where the battery comes down to like here instead, which gets it lower, because I had to trim the hood here, and it's for the negative post, but it had to go up inside the hood. The positive post had, you know, a good inch of clearance or so anyways, that's kind of where we're at. I'm also probably going to be putting a different hood on there, and either buying or building a cowl hood, and then I'll probably patch that piece, or maybe I won't, we'll see. But I'll just sell this hood. I have these in there, and see if anybody wants to buy it. So but anyways, that's kind of where we're at. I'm gonna get to cleaning up my mess, and we'll get back to it. Hey everybody, thanks for watching, but this does conclude this week's video. It's been kind of hectic trying to get this thing done before the 19th, before I head to Browns camp, and I do apologize for being a day late, but as always, thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.